Hey, welcome back to my channel. So glad that you guys are here. I so appreciate every time you drop in and leave me comments, and I just love the interaction that we get to have. My name is Vicki-Lynne. If you're new here, I follow a plant-based diet, and I am also trying to go gluten-free. So if that interests you, please subscribe down below. I do some grocery hauls, I do a bunch of recipes, and of course I do a bunch of meal preps. My motto going forward is make the rest of your life the best of your life, and I hope you come along and join. I hope you make the rest of your life the best of your life, and the best way we can do that is with our health. And I'm again a little under the weather, so I apologize for my voice, but again, we need to take care of ourselves, and I feel that eating a plant-based diet that's oil-free is the best way to fuel our bodies and take care of ourselves. So today we're doing a meal prep, and I do have some great recipes. I'm going to be doing some sweet potatoes, just baking them so we can have them for the week. I might make some brownies out of them or something. We're going to be making a pea soup. And what I do when I meal prep is I go through what I have already in the house. I am trying to do like I use it up for, you know, January, February. I'm trying to use up my basics or my staples, so that obviously saving money. We're also going to make some gluten-free bread, and this is my first time making it, so stick around for that. That should be fun. And I'm going to do some stuffed peppers because I had rice in the freezer. Again, I always make extra and then freeze one so that we do travel a lot. So when we get back, I can just pull a couple of things, some, you know, beans and stuff that I also freeze and make from scratch. So that way we have something to eat and we don't have to worry about it. So with the rice, I was thinking the peppers need to get used. So I decided I'll do some stuffed peppers, and we're gonna make it kind of like a Tex-Mex, Mexican taco kind of flavor. And then I can use whatever leftovers that I have, because I also have enchilada sauce in my freezer. And by the way, I have a great recipe for my enchilada sauce. Super easy and super affordable. So I'll link that up there for you. And then I'll make enchiladas with the enchilada sauce and use up some tortillas and stuff that we have. So let's get cooking. I have been preparing a few things before I start filming, just to keep things a little bit shorter and sweeter. And don't forget, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. That does mean a lot to me. And anybody who's one of my regular subscribers who's clicked on this for my recipes, I love you guys. It just makes me so happy. Anyway, and we also have a Facebook group, so please go down and join that. We do some challenges. We're about to start a 50-50 plate challenge. So I'll talk about that towards the end, so stay with me to the bitter end. And I am going to try to make this one a little bit shorter because I have prepped beforehand. Okay, guys? So let me show you what we're doing. So basically the first thing I do, as you know, I try to make a list of what I need to get done this week or what I want to make. And as you see, I had curry, but then I realized that my red peppers over here were kind of going, and I had taken rice out of the freezer. See how this all works? Because I had, when I make big batches, I freeze. That way I can just take it out and I'll have something for supper. So I've decided to do like Mexican taco stuffed peppers. So that should be fun and easy. I am going to make a pea soup because I haven't had soup for a while. And then I'm also doing some beet hummus and some date caramel. And I don't know. I'll have to look. Oh, and I'm also going to be making bread. I found this great book on Thrift Books, it's called. It was wonderful. And you can get your books at a big discount. I've honestly been going rogue on this because a lot of the books that I've gotten are like $3, $4, $5, and they deliver them free if you hit a certain amount. So anyway, so I'm going to try a potato bread, a caraway potato bread that's gluten-free. And she has a different way of making them. They bake a lot longer, and that's how they rise. So I'm going to give that a shot. So, of course, last night I just started gathering all the ingredients. This is basically all for, oh, that's my sick stuff. but this is basically all the dates that I'm going to make my date caramel out of. All of the ingredients that I need for the gluten-free bread. I have my peppers out, I have my rice, I have my peas, I have my herbs, all my beans. Yesterday I actually had my Instant Pot going pretty well most of the day. I made my soup stock, I did my beets, and I did some chickpeas that I've put some in the freezer, but some that I'm going to use today. And then I'll leave some chickpeas out because I do like adding them to the salad. I already had black beans in my freezer, pulled that out. And again, I'm still doing the whole use it up challenge. So a lot of the stuff has stuff that we've had in the house for a bit. Or again, I do buy some fresh because I do need fresh, even though I do have some frozen vegetables, but I'm still having fresh. But honestly, it's been a really good month so far. I need some potatoes, the Yukon Gold, for making the bread because it's a potato bread. Makes sense, right? So you get to come on that adventure and see how I do on this. I know most of my recipes are gluten-free, but the one thing that I really do miss is bread. And so I'm just going to give it a try. The book looks really easy. So let's get going. So as you saw, I already prepped everything. I already chopped up my vegetables, my onions, my carrots, because of course, you know, I cry like a baby with the onions, so got to do that off camera. And then I made stock last night. So yesterday I cooked my beets, I made stock, and I did my chickpeas in the Instant Pot. So I just rotated them when one was done, kind of thing. I've got my scraps, which I'm putting back in the freezer for my next stock. And this way, if you keep doing that and you're always eating, obviously like plant-based in your vegetables, you're always going to have vegetables to add. And you're always going to be able to make stock, and whatever you don't use, you can just freeze. It freezes really well. And then again, you know, I freeze half my batches for the most part. The other thing I saw in my freezer was enchilada sauce. So that's why I was thinking the kind of Mexican stuffed peppers, because whatever's left over of the rice, I can even, and the black beans and stuff, I can mix in sweet potatoes and make enchiladas, or I can just make them like that with the enchilada sauce. Again, I'm kind of like working from one over the other and just prioritizing what needs to get done first. So enough of that talking, because it's really hurting me. I'm going to throw in my sweet potatoes into the oven. We're going to just cook those. They're going to just set them and forget them. They're good. We're going to get our other potatoes going, and then we're going to start on our soup. So one of the things I do every week is I do my little jars up. I have about 10 of them, and I do my overnight oats. So I just put, we like to mix it, so I do the quick oats and the rolled oats and then my chia seeds, and then each night we just decide what flavor we want, pull whatever fruit or whatever out of the freezer and stick them in there. They're great in the morning. And then I swap out and do like a tofu scramble here and there. It just depends on my mood. The other thing I'm doing this week is I'm sprouting. So I have my pea tendrils sprouting. They should be ready in a couple of days. I have a video for sprouting. I love sprouting. I have other stuff. I have my arugula and everything else kind of in my little flower bed that I have over here by the window. So I love growing those and putting them on toast or my salads or anything to top it off. They just add such a great flavor, and they're so much cheaper than buying them at the store. So again, that's, you know, invest in a jar and a strainer. I've even shown you how you can use like the bags from the onions or whatever to make your own strainer, and you just need a mason jar. I just hold it upside down so that the water does drain out of it, and that's it. So we're going to start with the soup, and when you're doing peas, you always want to just kind of rinse them first, which I've done, and they always say you're supposed to check for like pebbles or whatever, but I've honestly never found one. So we're just going to start cooking this up. So we're just warming up our pan. You could use broth. I'm just going to use a little bit of water just to put at the bottom, and then I'm putting in my celery and carrots and my onions. Once they've sauteed for about 5 minutes, we're going to add in our peas and our stock. We're going to add in some garlic powder and some thyme. bring that up to a boil, and you're just gonna let it cook until the peas are tender and they basically fall apart and thicken everything up. So we're just heating up our pan because we don't use oil to fry anything. I'm gonna add a little bit of water, and then I'm gonna add in my onions and celery. And you could add whatever vegetables you want, to be honest. And we're gonna just give those a saute. Just need to cook them down for about 4 or 5 minutes. To this deliciousness, we're going to add in the rice. And because it was frozen, I am gonna add some water to kind of re-steam it. We're gonna use a can of tomato sauce, our black beans. Give that a stir. Now for some seasoning, I'm just using a tacos mix. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of garlic. I'm gonna add some of this roasted corn. Probably just like a quarter of the pack, just to add the corn to the, so we can see it. And then we're just going to let the corn defrost, and we'll be all set. And of course, obviously, give it a try. See what it needs. More taco seasoning. So we're just gonna let that warm through. So I have my peppers, and they actually fit really nicely into this loaf pan, so we're going to use that. We're gonna cut off the tops. We're gonna save those for decoration. Okay, so we have our pan. I am going to just chop a little bit of cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, you can do parsley. Just want to give it a little freshness. And we're just going to keep filling them up. Should be preheating your oven to about 350. Now the filling is cooked, but obviously the peppers aren't. I like to keep my peppers pretty crisp. So we'll just be baking these for about 20 minutes. The last thing I'm going to do is just top this with about a teaspoon of this hot salsa. Just to give it a little kick. You don't have to do that. You can, again, they're yours. You do whatever you want with them. We're just going to cover these with tin foil, just loosely, just to help the peppers cook a little bit. And we're going to put those in the oven for about 20 minutes or so. We're almost at the end of our meal prep. We have 2 things left to do with which is the beet hummus. And if you've been here before, you know we love beets like crazy. So we have beets almost every day, whether it's on top of our salads or just cooking them or making like beet burgers or whatever. So we're gonna make some beet hummus, making that for my husband because he loves that. And that's my way of getting him to eat extra vegetables. See, I'm always thinking, guys. And then we're going to make our date caramel, which is super simple and easy to make. So let me show you how we're gonna make our beet hummus. So in our food processor, we're going to add in our chickpeas. And I make my own, and then that way I have the aquafaba, and I just rinse these bags and reuse them. So that way I have my own aquafaba, and we're all set to go. And yes, aquafaba is very important to have. It's actually very good for replacing fats in dishes. And that's probably like one, I'm gonna say 1 beet. I'm gonna add in some tahini, some lemon juice, a little bit of garlic, and I am going to add a little bit of salt, and then we'll try that out. Now we're just going to blend that up. Every once in a while you're going to have to stop and then just keep blending until you get a nice smooth. And look at that, our beet hummus is done. I did add a little extra lemon just to make it nice and extra smoothie. And you can tell these are already like caramel. So we're just going to finish this up, and for our date caramel, we're just going to put in a little bit of plant-based milk. I like cinnamon. If you don't have to put it in, but we love the cinnamon, and it's very good for regulating your blood sugar. And then a splash of vanilla. And that is it. It is super simple, and you can put as much liquid in as you want depending on what you want to do. If you want to do like a caramel sauce, I would probably add a little bit more. All right, that is now perfect. So good. So now it is absolutely perfect. I like it this thick because I like to dip my apples in it and make caramel apples. So good. And again, you can thin it out if you wanted to make it into a drizzle of some sort. You can do whatever you want. Stores in the fridge really well, and also the freezer if you need to. All right, now we are going to, I'm going to need my glasses. Now we're going to attempt to make our gluten-free caraway potato bread. And the author is Jennifer Katzinger. And I've gone through it. It looks like a really good book. And she also does have how to make your own gluten-free sourdough starter and stuff. So I might experiment with that as things progress. But there are probably some ingredients in here that you might not be familiar with. One is tapioca flour, which you may know. Arrowroot flour, you probably know that one. Xanthan gum, that is like a binder. It gives structure to things. So that's used a lot in vegan baking when you're not using eggs and other stuff. And brown rice flour. And then the other one that I wasn't even familiar with is teff flour. So teff flour is like this, teff is like the smallest seed ever. And I believe it comes from Africa. And so there's a lot of recipes with teff. All right, so we're going to I'm gonna follow her instructions. We're just gonna do this together. It's gonna be super, super simple. And you're gonna need fast rising yeast. And so the first step is to put all of the dry ingredients in one bowl. So the brown rice flour is 1 cup. The arrowroot is 1/2 cup. The tapioca is 1 cup. And all of these gluten-free are very light and fluffy. And I do have enough. I'll have to refill my jug. And I am making a mess. Just in case you don't know, I'm making a very big mess. Let me show you what I'm doing. Besides the mess, I'm going to clean it up, but there's stuff all over. But that's okay. And now we're going to put our teff in. So I actually got this. I like Anthony's. They always have organic, and for almost anything, I like Anthony's. So I got it off of Amazon, of course. I'll link it down below if you're interested. And it's 1.5 cups. All right. I also need 1/4 cup of flax meal. And you know I grind mine every week or whenever I need it. 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum. Caraway seeds. Let me know if you love caraway seeds. I love caraway seeds. I was so excited when it called for that because I actually didn't have any, and I was like, I love that flavor. And then some salt. Now we're supposed to mix this. This recipe does call for oil, but I'm not going to use any. So in the other one, we're going to put in a couple of tablespoons of maple syrup. We're going to add in our water. Then we're going to want that to just activate a little bit first. If you can see that, but our yeast is starting to grow. So now we're going to add in the mashed potato. So when I was cooking the potatoes, I weighed it. So it's 5 ounces. And then you're supposed to add in the rest of the dry ingredients. Now she says if you have a stand mixer, that would work great. I don't have one, so I'm going to have to use my elbow grease. And you're just going to want to mix it until it forms into a nice soft dough. And I am going to add a little bit of water because I didn't add the oil. We'll see how this works without the oil. So we're going to put a little teff flour down. Pull this out. So your oven should be preheated to 375. And then we're going to divide these into 2 portions. Do them into like round balls. All right, then we're going to put them on our parchment paper, or I'm using a silk pad. It says to score it with a C. There we go. We're going to bake it for 1 hour at 375, and then we're going to decrease it to 300 for another hour. I know, it's such a long baking process. Let's see what happens, guys. We are still waiting. We are still waiting for the bread. It's just about time to turn it down, but I did want to show you everything that we made. So we have our beautiful stuffed peppers, lovely, our beet hummus, our pea soup, and my husband came up with an amazing idea. I have a recipe for vegan bacon bits, and he was saying I should have put it in the soup, but we're putting it on top. And I'll have my recipe for the vegan bacon bits above, below, wherever. It's really good, and it does add that extra smokiness to it. And then we have our leftover filling that we did for our peppers, so we're going to use that either just to eat. It's full of great nutrients. We have our date caramel for dipping in our apples, and we have all of our sweet potatoes and our regular potatoes. I also did do a cheese sauce, my usual potato cheese sauce that everybody has seen a million times. So I have that for these potatoes. Well, my friends, we are at the end of this meal prep. Again, I didn't take my advice. What do I always tell you to do? Start the thing that takes the longest. I should have started the bread first, but it smells really good. It's a little bit heavy, but it is hollow, so I'm just waiting for it to totally cool before I get to slice it. So we have gotten almost a week's worth of our stuff done for the week. I can sit back now, relax, take care of myself, and I'm wishing all the best for you. And don't forget to make the rest of your life the best of your life, and we're going to do that this year. I'm going to do a little bit more of what I eat in the day, what I kind of do in the day. I have lost 80 pounds to date, and sometimes it's really difficult because I still have a ways to go. So I hope you come on this journey with me. I hope you join me on this journey, and please leave me comments down below if there's anything you're looking for or anything that you need help with. Leave me a message. I'll do the best that I can, or I'll give you other resources. Again, I have read a ton of books, a ton of recipe books. Again, we're all just finding our way. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.